Hey guys, I'm on my computer like I promised in my last video. If you didn't watch the last video and this is the first video of this like small series, I mean this is the last part of the series. It's only a two-part series. But if you're just watching this one, go watch my last video where I talked about why people don't like modern investing and why some people don't like vintage investing. That kind of gives you guys I guess an introduction of this whole thing. So in that last video, I didn't really give you guys my opinion on why I like modern investing more or why I like vintage investing more. So I'm gonna tell you guys my opinion today. But before I give you guys that opinion, I just want to say that I did say that I wanted to talk about modern versus like vintage investing. But honestly, looking at all the data that I found here, it's almost impossible to tell you guys really. I guess it kind of coincides with what I'm trying to say. Where I guess my opinion, but there's very little sales data for very vintage boxes, and when there are like sales data, the prices are very volatile. It's not consistent, and I'll show you guys a few examples of what I mean. So let's go to Jungle. This is obviously considered vintage by everyone. You can see here, best offer accepted. This was October 16th. This is very recent. You don't know what the price is. eBay doesn't tell you. And the reason why I'm using eBay, if you don't know, is because TCG Player, if you search up any boxes like past black and white and stuff, there's no listings for anything. If there are listings, it's all messed up. You can't find any data. So eBay is going to be the best place to find data. But the bad thing is I can't actually go. I don't know if I can, but I don't know how to go back. Like if I wanted to check a price from like a year ago, I don't really know if that's possible. So I mean, if I go all the way down here, it goes to August, which is obviously not like a year. So it would be kind of hard to make that, I guess, make a video about this stuff anyways, because there's just not a lot of data. So TCG Player obviously makes it easy because I can literally just go here and press a button. But anyways, getting back to what I was trying to say. For sales data wise, like I said, there's no data. So here we got this box. You keep scrolling, and you're gonna find a box here for 6,800, but from the same person as I showed you guys last time. And then you go back like a month, and there's another sale for a Jungle box, right here. Now this is first edition, and this one is just unlimited. So obviously there's going to be a price difference, but as you can see, when trying to find all these boxes, it's almost impossible. And if you go past that, even I mean this one I think is it's pretty obvious it's fake, but there's just very little sales. There's one right here, $5,000 or $6,000, but it's just not much to really quantify like the price and just how much is getting sold. It's just very hard to find a lot of sales data for this product, which is why I can't really make a video about it because I think it's kind of unfair. Plus, I can't really give you guys like an accurate, how much has this really gone up and stuff because I can't go back like a whole year like I can on TCG Player. It just doesn't show me any of that, so can't really do that. Same thing with EX era. I just try to pick a box from each era. EX era, these boxes are like, I searched up Sandstorm as just a random one. It came up with just other EX era boxes. These are all from TCA Gaming. There's another one here, and then you keep scrolling back, and there's really no sales data. So can't give you guys any data on that really. Here's Diamond and Pearl. I searched up Stormfront, came up with this $6,400. Keep scrolling. This is just another set from Diamond and Pearl. So as you can see, it's very hard. Like I don't have to keep going through this, but it's just almost impossible to find enough data so I can compare it and tell you guys, why one is better than the other. But okay, after showing you guys that, I'll tell you guys my opinion. I think modern investing has a way higher ceiling than all this vintage stuff, and I guess you can see from all those listings. A big reason why I don't like investing into these vintage items, one, they're super expensive, so obviously not everyone can put $5,000-$10,000 into a box. Two, it's much higher risk with these really expensive boxes. If you're gonna buy them, you really have to worry about resealing, and you really have to worry about all that stuff. And also you have to worry about scammers, because when you sell the product when it's that highly priced, you're going to run into probably some problems if you try to sell it and someone says, oh, it's resealed or whatever. Just when you buy these such high priced boxes, there's a lot more problems, and also liquidity obviously is an issue. As you can see, there's not much sales data. So with that being said, I can't really compare vintage items to modern items because it's not possible. I could compare booster packs because there are sales for those, but I just like to compare booster box prices because that's kind of what most people invest into and whatever. So with that being said, I thought the next best thing to do is to compare Sun and Moon boxes. Yes, I know it's not vintage. I know it's only like 5, 6 years old, but these prices for these boxes have really gone up. So this might be something that some of you guys are thinking about investing into. So I thought this would be, the next best thing to compare modern boxes to, even though they're not that old. But with that being said, let's just start with the video, and I'm just kind of rambling now. So I'm only going to give you guys a few boxes from Sword and Shield. I don't want to be redundant and go through every single set because I don't think that's needed. So Evolving Skies, we're going to base everything off of a year, obviously. So you could have got this box, a year ago for around like $250. Now it's around like $420. This is, I don't know, like an 80% increase. I know Evolving Skies is kind of an anomaly, so I want to show you guys some other sets. Silver Tempest, this is a set like Lost Origin where you can't really compare it to because it did get a reprint. So obviously, the box price dropped. So, it's not just exponential growth like some other ones, or not exponential, but linear growth. You can see here though, without the reprint, it was going up, and I think it would have continued to go up if it didn't get the reprint. Which is why, like I said, I think modern investing has a higher ceiling with these reprints, and the box prices not being as high as Sun and Moon and these other eras. I think it's just there's a way higher ceiling for these boxes. So with these reprints and stuff for these sets, I think this is a good pickup. Obviously, you can be patient to buy and get the best deal for them. You can get these boxes down to 108. I've seen you can get it for cheaper than 120. But it did go as high as like MSRP here. Next here we got Fusion Strike. This is an example of, it did not get a reprint, and you can see what happened. So in the beginning here, you could have honestly got it in the 80s, like around $85 to $90, and it's gone all the way up to $144. Don't know what that is in percentages, but I would guess around like 80%, 70, 80%. Chilling Reign, another perfect example of it didn't get a reprint. You could have got it for around the same price, $85, $90. It's all the way up to around $150, almost doubling in price in just a year. And lastly, Astral Radiance. This is not a very popular set in Sword and Shield, but I wanted to get a little bit of everything in the era. So you can see, I bet you around here you could have gotten it for around like $90, and it's gone all the way up to around $130. So I just want to show you guys those modern sets, and now let's get into the vintage, or I guess air quotes, of Sun and Moon. Like I said, this is not vintage, but this is the best thing I can compare it to. So here I'm just picking some popular sets from Sun and Moon. I don't want to compare like bad sets like Celestial Storm and like base set. It's just I'm trying to give you guys the more popular sets because that's what we're comparing these to. So for Ultra Prism, you could have got it for around 380, and now it's around like 520. Don't really know what that is in percentage, but I think that's probably around 50%. And for sales data for Sun and Moon boxes, it's not, as you can see, they're not being sold as much, which is another reason why I don't really like investing into these like more vintage stuff. Compared to like more modern boxes, they're selling very frequently. So yeah, this is around a 50% increase, and I did go to eBay to make sure that these prices are like correct because there's not as much sales data on TCG Player as there is on eBay, and it is around like $600, 550, 600. So it's around there. It's a little bit higher, and you can see that with some of these sales. But so you could say maybe it's just double the price, not maybe 50% if you compare it, because this could be different too. I don't really know, but it's gone up around, let's say, like around 75% if you compare to this price to what it is now. So next we got Cosmic Eclipse. This is a very good set in the Sun and Moon era. It started the year around like 540. Now it's at 850. And I went to eBay to confirm the price that it is around the price it is, and yeah, it's selling for around $850. You can get it for cheaper sometimes, but it's around $850. Next, we got Unbroken Bonds. This is a good set, but not as good as Cosmic Eclipse or Team Up, which I'm going to show you guys next. So it started around $480. Now it's around $550. I didn't search this one up, but I guess I can. Let's see here. Just do this. So yeah, it's around $550. So this is obviously not as good as the other boxes we've seen. Next, we got Team Up. Now this is pretty much like the Evolving Skies of the Sun and Moon era. It's like doubled in price. It's gone all the way up to $900, from $900 to $1,800. Now, You could so this is where this is kind of anomaly. Obviously, with like Evolving Skies it being so highly priced now, it's going to make a lot of people not want to invest into it. Which being $400 for it to go up to 800, I would say it's definitely possible. As you can see here in Team Up, it's gone 900 to $1,800 in just a year. But there's problems obviously, like I've stated before, with it getting this highly priced. And I did obviously cross check it with eBay to make sure that it is a real price, and it is around $1,800. So why is this, like, why do I not want to invest into these boxes? They've gone up, similar, for some boxes, similar to, Sword and Shield era boxes, and, even Team Up going up $900, doubling in price in just 1 year. So why would you not want to invest into this box versus, maybe Evolving Skies, where it's, almost doubled, but why would you, invest into Modern? A very big reason, like I'm pretty much reinstating what I said before, where all the problems with investing into Vintage, but there's just, I mean, for Sun and Moon, there is a lot of sales, as you can see here, but there's a lot of problems with selling with this like highly priced items, is that you run into liquidity issues. Obviously now that's not a problem, but later in the future, if you're holding this long term, let's say this box goes up to like $3,000-$4,000, it's not going to be selling as quick as a box like Chilling Reign, which right now it's at like 150, and maybe it doubles in price in like, let's say, like, I don't know, 3-4 years from now. It's going to be much easier to sell a box that's $350 versus $4,000 or $5,000. And just a lot of people don't have this type of money to invest into like vintage boxes anyways. So that's just another thing that it's just kind of hard to get these boxes in the first place. And another thing is, when you're buying these boxes to invest into and they're already this expensive, you do have to worry about people resealing, because when it's this highly priced, people are more enticed to reseal and scam you. And there's just a lot of problems with buying products at this high price, where it's kind of like, you obviously, I'm not saying it's a bad investment, but I just think it's not as good as like Modern, where I feel like it's much safer, because it's just so highly priced, and I just feel like that makes it more risky. But as you can see with Team Up, already at $900 is already really expensive, going up to what it is now. I just think that there's, once it reaches such a high price like this, especially in such a short amount of time, I feel like that's kind of, a point where, this, I mean, if you're buying at this price right now, it could keep going up, but I feel like there's a lot of risk. And I feel like for some of these Sun and Moon boxes, this is kind of like artificial growth. Like, I feel like this is not natural. Like, I feel like people are just stockpiling these, and just a lot of hype around the set. But when you compare it to, these Sword and Shield boxes here, these boxes obviously are newer, and you don't see, as crazy growth as, this, but this is kind of an anomaly. There's just such a higher ceiling for these. Sword and Shield, as everyone knows, is kind of like one of the best eras in Pokemon. And with some of these box prices that they are now, especially with some being reprinted like Silver Tempest, Lost Origin, there's just so much more opportunity, especially with the artwork in the sets and how popular the era is. Like I said, there's just so much more growth here, instead of like a box already. If you're gonna buy it now at around like $600, $2,000, there's just not that much growth. It's already grown enough where, if you got it back then, that's great. But as it is now, there's better opportunities. I could see this box, going up, doubling in price way quicker than some of these boxes that are already at like $2,000. So yeah, that's basically the end of this video. I know this kind of like an abrupt ending, but this video was kind of just, me kind of rambling about, things that I might have already said, where, vintage boxes, lower liquidity, you have to worry about scamming. You have to, when you buy them, you have to worry about, resealing and stuff. Whereas whereas Modern, you can just, since it's newer, you're buying it at a lower cost. It has a much higher ceiling to grow, because, it doesn't already have like, 5-10 years already of growth in it. And Sword and Shield is just one of the best eras in Pokemon, and people are going to want to open sets from this era in the future. And yeah, that's basically it. I know I kind of rambled a little bit, and I know this is not vintage like this whole series was about, but I really can't find data for those boxes, which is, I guess, another, like I said before, another reason why I don't like vintage, is because it's low liquidity and just prices fluctuate a lot. So that's the end of the series. I know it's only a two-part, but hope you enjoyed and got something out of this. I know this video wasn't really structured that well because when I was looking at the data, I figured out maybe this wasn't the best video to make because it's kind of hard to find data. But I tried my best, and I did try to compensate by looking up, sun and moon boxes. So hope you enjoyed. Definitely still have a lot of videos coming up in the future. So just thank you guys for all subscribing, liking, and all that stuff, watching my videos. And I'll see you guys in the next few days.